first.
What's up, Alphas? It's your boy Alphas Up, and I'm here with
Classic Ruby, y'all. What's up? What's good? What's happening? What's popping? This lovely, I know it's freaking you out, Friday evening. But listen, we had way too many technical difficulties yesterday. We weren't going to be able to get started until like midnight, okay? And I know y'all ain't got time for that. You know, TGIF, right? And we know that y'all had to sneak us in today. And if you can't, it's okay. You can be part of the replay gang, right? Now, unfortunately, it's not going to be as long and full of a show as you guys are used to, okay? We had to cut it down a little bit because some of us have real jobs that they have to go to. It's obviously not me. I'm a cat woman. However, okay, we are still going to give y'all a lot of entertainment while you're here. So be here for a good time, not for a long time. How are you doing this lovely Friday evening, so?
I am blessed, highly favored, looking forward. We got some crazy stories, news breaking all over the place. If y'all didn't watch, we had the P. Diddy Cassie story I put out yesterday. Just to give y'all something on a Thursday. It's a lot going on. I'm excited. We got some crazy stories. People taking the law in their own hands. A lot going on.
Well, hey, listen, let us just get right to it, right? I mean, we don't got time to play today, y'all. Y'all will see we're going to be on point. Yeah, so let's just get right to it. Yeah. Right?
Get right to it. Listen, I feel like I'm back. And it's your boy Lavas. I'm looking clean, looking sexy. Y'all know the routine is I'll be that news, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, all of that. And I know we usually go into niche stories and we're trying to go through regular stories, but sometimes I like to dabble in popularity. Usually it's a live video, but this week we having so much news. It's November, you know, people gotta act up a little bit. We having the Gaza, Palestinian, Israel, Hamas situation. So of course, we have to talk about Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens. And why would I talk about these people? Yeah, you don't even really care about these people because you know what game they're in. They're in the politics. You don't want to dabble in that. But then I do because they're arguing and they're supposed to be on the same side. I've seen a little bit, but I haven't seen a lot. But I am curious to what's going on in this. Because when Home's not good, they both work for the Daily Wire. When Home's not good, Home's not good. So let's get into this. As Candace Owens slams emotionally unhinged Ben Shapiro as Israel feud escalate. Candace Owens blasted Ben Shapiro as emotionally unhinged and unprofessional. The latest escalation in the feud between the two Daily Wire stars over Israel. Owens on Wednesday took to social media to respond to Shapiro, the co-founder of Daily Wire, who urged her to quit the right-leaning news outlet. Candace, if you feel like taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, by all means quit. The rabidly pro-Israel Shapiro wrote on X social media. Now, where did this come from? I have no clue. I actually saw this tweet, and I had no clue where it come from. I figured she might be having on her guide trip, and now she's Christian. You know, I'd never heard her literally claim Christianity. So I figured she was just on, like, maybe she's going there and realizing that she's doing wrong and all this. But it probably wasn't that. But let's go read some more. While Shapiro, the co-founder and co-owner of the news site, he has stated in the past that he did not have the authority to fire Owens, who hosts the Daily Wire's Candace Owens talk show. Caleb Robinson, who is the CEO of the Daily Wire, has hiring and firing power at the company. Shapiro, who holds the title of editor emeritus at the Daily Wire, in addition to his duties as host of the Ben Shapiro Show, was responding to a post from Owens in which she quoted a verse from the book of Matthew. We love the book of Matthew here at I'll Be That News. Well, half of us. I don't know if Ruby does. I can't speak for Ruby. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God, Owens wrote, quoting the biblical verse. Listen, I like that verse, by the way. I remember that. Ain't that Matthew 7? I'm a Sunday school teacher. I should remember this. Was a Sunday school. She then added, no one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money, she wrote. Candace, if you feel that taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, by all means quit. I don't know how that correlates. Ben Shapiro is obviously in his feelings because we know that group is typically in their feelings in situations like this because they feel like, okay, they want to take down the border and maybe make it a two-state solution, which they feel like could lead to another Holocaust. That's how Jewish people feel. And there's certain people of that ilk who have a lot of power and influence who prevents it a lot of times and shuts down most people from talking about them at all. You really can't talk about them. Now, the people up the road who live in their normal life, they are not part of that group. And sometimes we like to correlate all of a certain group with certain people. Like, oh, you part of this community? Oh, y'all all rich and run everything. Y'all rule the world. There's certain people of that ilk do have a lot of power, specifically in Hollywood and media. Doesn't mean I don't think they have like governmental power, but they have influence over media and things like that. You have the certain owners of certain companies who tend to be that way. Ben Shapiro being the owner of Daily Wire and all that stuff. I don't know where he got this from because reading from her quote, I think she's saying she wants peace in the Middle East, which a lot of people do say. Outside the very unhinged people who is like so pro-Palestine that they don't care about what Hamas is doing. And the people that's so pro-Israel, they don't care the crimes that Israel commits. Because, of course, we have to pick sides in society, right? But he's, of course, in his feelings because he's dug into a side. He is part of that community. So he is in that side. So reading anything that sounds against that, his people, and can lead to a possible tossing if they let any action happen, I set him off. Just trying to give some context to what's going on. You have been acting unprofessional and emotionally unhinged for weeks now, and we have all sat back and allowed it and have tried to exercise exceeding understanding for your raw emotion. But you cross a certain line where you come for scripture and read yourself into, hold on, what is Candace Owens ever been like super biblical in Christianity? Never mind. It's that season. It's that. Never mind. Maybe she found it recently. Maybe I'm thinking about the wrong person. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe she is more pro. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she's more pro God than I thought she was. But I think y'all might can find some whole thing. They're like, I'm not really okay. Never mind. This not about the story. Shapiro responded to Owens' post by urging her to resign, prompting Owens to hit back. The Owens Shapiro. Oh, okay, we're gonna get some more understanding on stuff. That's the part I saw. Let's get some more. The Owens Shapiro feud began early this week when a user on X posted a video showing Shapiro criticizing the company over her stance on Israel. I think her behavior during this has been disgraceful without a doubt, Shapiro has been seen saying. I think it's a fault. Sophistication on these particular issues has been ridiculous. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Yes, the question is about Candace Owens. I think her behavior during this has been disgraceful. Without a doubt.
My man looked disheveled. My man looked stressed. My man looked tired. My man looked defeated. Listen, I'm telling you. They really believe that if they let anything happen, the first bit of anything happen, it's over with for them, and they be stressed about it. And I understand it. It's like when, black people let a lot of stuff go, just being honest, until they get to a certain point, in which we be like, yo, listen, we ain't going back no slavery. They don't let nothing go. If you write, they will have you write essays about apologizing if you Kyrie Irving for posting a movie that goes against what they believe. I'm just saying. In an interview with former Fox News star Tucker Carlson on his X show on Wednesday, Owens said she would not be making ad hominem attacks against Shapiro, who should be embarrassed over his handling the situation. I would hope that amongst my colleagues, it would always be civil disagreement, she said. I hope they will remain respectful and that you shouldn't throw your colleagues under the bus, so to speak. He throw you under the bus? Like, I think this might just be November time. You know what I'm saying? We got everything going crazy. It's November, content season. People emotional. It's almost time for Christmas. People trying to get their rocks off. Owens has been a vocal critic of Israel as well as U.S. government support for the country's military operation in Gaza, which were launched in response to October 7th surprise assault by Hamas terrorists that 1,400 Israelis. The Israeli military responded. It generated fierce criticism due to high civilian count. Of course they do. Hey, I got a question. Why is right? Now, I thought this was like a left-leaning thing. When did the right-leaning people start becoming against Israel? I thought they was like they jammed to be pro-Israel. I thought that was like what they get off on. Israel has claimed it's targeting senior Hamas commanders who have built underground facilities nestled between civilian structures such as hospitals. No government anywhere has the right to commit ever, Owens wrote on X account earlier this month. He didn't mention Israel, but though this was implied. There is no justification for a genocide. I can't believe this even need to be said or even considered at least bit controversial to state. Owens has also amplified posts by left-wing figures such as Max Blumer and critic of Israel and everything else. Listen, like I'm saying, they even come together. I think when you get too extreme on right or left, you kind of start agreeing. So, like, when did Candace Owens start agreeing with, like, son? You know what I'm saying? The world is different. Listen, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we're going to keep following this story because this might get a little more crazy. Let me know, who do you agree with? Ben Shapiro or Candace Owens? Who do you agree with? You. Right there. Who do you agree with? My light is going crazy. They telling me to get off the camera right now. It's all going wild. So hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell before it's over. Please. Thank you. And join us every Thursday for a live show. Every Wednesday, sometime Monday, Friday, we drop a regular video just so you can watch it if you can't be here for the live show. We do that just for you. It's Classic Ruby and it's Zelmay the Alpha. Listen, so the right is starting to eat each other over this Israel Palestine.
I wouldn't say it's the right. The thing is, well, actually, Candace Owens does. Maybe I'll do a little special on it because Candace Owens has very recently responded again, and some of the things that she said are interesting because they basically paint Ben Shapiro as not actually really as right-winged as people think of him as in on a lot of subjects. If you were to kind of amass it, he actually has a lot of leftist politics, or at least that's how Candace was painting him, especially on the Tucker show, right? Because that's who interviewed her. Now, what's interesting is that none of them on the right have it's kind of like there's no honor among thieves, right? There's no honor among the right wing. There's just not, right? The right wing is notorious. They're so notorious for turning on each other, right? Like this. Literally, when Tucker was the one who was on the outs, whatever, Candace had no problem throwing him under the bus, right? And now that her and Ben Shapiro beefing, she has no problem showing up on Tucker's show on Twitter, right? To throw Ben under the bus. It's amazing. They have no loyalty. There's no loyalty among thieves at all. But it proves in this case, though, when they say blood is thicker than water, that's what I think it is. It's just because ultimately Jewish, sorry, I had to say it, is thicker than right wing. Okay. And that's what it is. And not for anything, but Black people tend to historically side with Palestine. So blood is thicker than water. I think that's what it is. I don't know.
I agree. They at each other, and he is very emotional right now. He told her, if you believe in it, you need to just quit the Daily Wire, taking money from them and stuff. I'm like, what? That has nothing to do with anything, sir. But
No, he probably did.
Yeah, it probably
Candace
something.
Owens is not a stupid girl. She did it on purpose. It's like, oh, well, if you're trying to make the Bible about you, sir, you're psychotic. I mean, that, like, she did it on purpose. She knows what she did. She knows what she did. It was smart. It was a smart play. But none of this has anything to do with Israel or Palestine or Palestinian. Like, it has nothing to do with that, really, because apparently they've been beefing for a long time behind the scenes. We didn't know, because apparently none of these people like each other. None of them get along, right? But again, no honor among thieves. That's what it is.
That is true.
Yep. Well, you know what? You know where else there's no honor is all?
Where?
There's no honor amongst government officials, period. There's just not, okay? And the current ticketing crisis, I'm going to call it that, ticketing crisis, okay? The current ticketing crisis proves at this point. The next story. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what? You know what I mean. Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Listen, y'all. I don't know what's going on over there in Chicago. Shout out and thank you so much to Char Willie for this story. I don't know. It's like the government officials, just the whole nine of it all has just been losing its ever-loving mind. We could just do literally a nonstop 24-hour round-the-clock Chicago news coverage and never run out of things to talk about. And we've got a lot of updates coming for y'all. Also, this isn't one of them, though. This is new and interesting, and it just kind of makes you wonder when super mayors like Tiffany Henyard want to bankrupt their counties, you know, with private security forces and whatnot. Well, what's the effect? What is the effect of all of this really bad governing, right, on the taxpayers, on the people who live in Chicago? Well, this might be one of them. And I want to check out this story. Let's take a look at the video, y'all, because I honestly think this is probably, we can expect a lot more of this kind of foolishness coming up.
No parking signs are supposed to be visible before you put your car in park.
New video you'll only see on 2 shows the opposite. A no parking sign being put up after the ticket was issued. CBS 2's Sabrina Franza has this story from Logan Square.
A man reached out to CBS 2 after he came back to his car to find a ticket in the windshield as a do not park sign was being hung up next to his car. He was confused, and so were we.
They're putting a sign up now to say I need to move, but they already put a ticket on my car.
Cooper O'Brien couldn't believe what he was seeing.
5 days a week, I come over here and park. I knew that I wasn't parked by those no parking signs.
Right.
He was at work when he started getting calls from 7D Construction to move his car, so he walked over.
Can't do it after the fact. I saw them.
Wait, hold on. I want y'all to just pause in y'all's mind, okay? And recognize how flagrant this is, okay? There was no parking sign there. None. So, to resolve the problem, it's not that they added the sign first, and then when the sign was already up, even though the guy was parked there in advance, then they ticketed him. No, that's not what happened. What they did was they were annoyed at his car being there. They decided they didn't want him to be able to park there anymore, so they got him ticketed first, and then started putting up a sign to justify their ticketing after the fact. I mean, other than the fact this makes no sense, it's probably doesn't strike me as overly legal, which then makes you wonder, why is Chicago suddenly sanctioning things like this? Why is this okay? Is it because they're missing hundreds of thousands to maybe even millions of dollars when you put all the different counties together and they're now okay with money grabs no matter how terrible? I don't know. Let's keep watching.
Saran wrapping the no parking sign next to my truck after the ticket was already on my windshield.
The ticket was for $100.
$100 is enough to cause enough headache to to want to make sure that this doesn't happen to other people.
It read an incorrect address.
Where they had written the ticket for 2815, my vehicle was actually parked.
You can see 2811 in the original video.
Up here at 2811.
What happened next? Also perplexing. The construction company offered to pay for the ticket.
I apologize. I'll send you a check to cover the fine. Just send me your information in the ticket.
Chicago police who issued the ticket referred us to the Department of Finance.
They probably get away with it all the time. If I hadn't walked up recording, they would have got away with it.
O'Brien tells us he's still waiting for that check from the construction company. We're in Logan Square. Sabrina Franza, CBS 2 News.
Thank you.
You gonna hold your breath, sir. Respect. Hold your breath. You'll pass out way before. I mean, come on. Oh, I swear, we'll pay the cost. You don't want no one to sue you. You don't want anyone calling out your shady little business affair dealings or however we want to call this. But let's be real here. Let's keep it a buck here. Y'all know what y'all were doing. They've probably done it before. The only reason why we don't know they've done it before, right, is because, like he said, luckily for him, he walked up recording. Luckily for him, he was in CYA mode because luckily for him, he got the heads up before he started approaching his car that something was amiss. Do you see what I'm saying? So unfortunately, and you know what? Hey, maybe there are people who do have things recorded, whatever, blah, blah, but they didn't get the news coverage yet. And they figured, who's going to believe me? Or what's the point of going to court or suing or whatever? No one's going to be on my side about this. So maybe once they hear this story, right, then they will feel galvanized to come forward and to do their own thing, to add their weight to this man's weight, because this is crazy. This is crazy. Now, like I said, I did say to y'all, listen, we do have some updates coming for y'all. This is not just like the update section, okay? It's not the update section. However, we do have some updates coming about some of these stories, because listen, it's not like the migrant tent cities or Mayor Tiffany Henyard. I can't mention her enough, can I? It's not like these things just went anywhere or just disappeared or resolved themselves, okay? So we do have some updates coming for you soon, okay? But I want to talk about, like I said, I really do think that there have been a lot of impacts happening, and you might not be able to see a direct link, the direct connection, but I do believe that if you if we were to really examine all these little things happening, I think that we can connect them to two major forces going on right now. One of them, I swear, is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, and the second, obviously, is the migrant crisis, okay? But let's take a look at this story, okay? This is yet another thing we can see going on in Chicago right now that is like, huh? Okay? And so you can see here, Chicago suburb drops citations against reporter for asking too many questions. Yes, a journalist, cited for asking too many questions. Okay. This is Calumet City, Illinois. Officials in a suburban Chicago community on Monday dropped municipal citations against a local news reporter for what they said were persistent contacts with city officials seeking comment on treacherous fall flooding. The reversal occurred days after officials in Calumet City mailed several citations to Hank Sanders, a daily Southtown reporter whose job includes covering the suburb, the Chicago Tribune reported Monday. The Southtown is owned by the Tribune's parent company. The tickets from the city of 35,000, located 24 miles, 39 kilometers south of Chicago, had alleged interference/hampering of city employees by Sanders for asking questions. Doesn't that sound a lot like Tiffany Henyard's justifications of self? If y'all don't know, it's coming, like I said. The Southtown published a story online October 19th and in print October 20th in which Sanders reported that consultants had informed Calumet City officials that their stormwater facilities were in poor condition before September's historic rain caused flooding. A day after the story was published online, Sanders continued to report on the issue. drawing complaints from city officials, including Mayor Thaddeus Jones, that he was calling employees to seek comment. Calumet City Attorney Patrick K. Walsh sent a Tribune lawyer a letter Monday dismissing the citations. Tribune executive editor Mitch Pugh said the newspaper is glad that cooler heads prevailed and Calumet City officials understood the error of their ways and dismissed these charges. We're glad to see Hank can get back to doing his job, serving the readers of the Daily Southtown, and we'll continue to be vigilant watching how city officials treat him in his capacity as reporter, Pugh said. We'll continue to support our journalists' right to do their jobs, whether in Calumet City or elsewhere. In his letter, Walsh said city employees have a right to refuse to speak with Sanders, but Walsh added, I understand it would be Mr. Sanders' position in your argument that he was not harassing anyone by asking questions, doing journalism things like, I don't know, writing articles and then submitting those articles to be read by the public. Yeah, no, not really. The letter from Walsh encourages Sanders to direct his inquiries to the suburb spokesperson and concludes, Mr. Sanders is a nice young reporter and I wish him well with his career. Really? On Monday, Sanders was back at work reporting. You know, here's an important part to note right at the bottom here. The city citations were the latest of several recent First Amendment dust-ups involving city officials and news outlets around the country following last week's arrest of a small-town Alabama newspaper publisher and reporter after reporting on a grand jury investigation of a school district, and the August police raid of a newspaper and its publisher's home in Kansas, tied to an apparent dispute a restaurant owner had with the paper. I mean, y'all, I really only think that there's one thing to conclude, okay? Generally, we're seeing that government, I don't know if it's government overreach, I don't know if it's government corruption, I don't know if it's government incompetence, right? But normally, what do they say? The fish stinks from the head, right? The trickle down effect, all of that stuff, right? When the government is worthless, when the government officials are worthless, all of the government employees underneath them, and then employees in general, and then business owners in general, and then whatever, right? They all end up just doing what they want to do. If you don't have to follow the law and the rules, why should they? But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am implying too much and it's just not fair. Y'all let me know what you think.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what? You know what I mean. Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
You know what we didn't do at the start? We didn't give a shout out to everyone who was here. So shout out, thank you very much, everybody, for coming to our impromptu stream. Gray Pill Podcast, Non Teasy, Mama Bell, who else? Shot Girl. I see you. See, we do your story. All right. Yeah, that's right. We're holding Chicago accountable. There's so much to hold Chicago accountable for. I can't even keep up most of the time. Hustler and Muscular. That's a cool name.
I like that name. I do too.
That's a cool name. And Mama Rubes, she's also in the chat. And then we got one of our newbies, Peachtree Dishes, salutations. What's up? So yeah, thank you everyone for coming to our impromptu day. Normally we're Thursday nights, but you know, technical difficulties. So what do you think about all of this ticketing fiasco-ness? Do you think it's just like people just don't like questions and they're like scared of questions and they don't like to be defied or whatever? Or do you think it's like deeper than that and Illinois is literally going to go bankrupt if they don't start bleeding citizens for more money? Which one do you think it is, Al?
Listen, Chicago is like the fraud capital of the world at this point. Like, they do not like question. We talk about DeSantis and how Florida's crazy and how they go in and Chicago don't quite go as well as DeSantis did. DeSantis went in there and broke computers and deleted information off the computers and then be like, hey, my bad. We weren't supposed to do that. My fault. Chicago, they'll be like, you only get one question, then try to find you or something. It's like levels of insane corruption and people just getting away with doing everything, including one of our favorite civil rights activist sons who likes to commit fraud. So shout out to him.
Wow, that's nice.
Named right after his daddy too, Jesse Jackson. Shout out to him.
That is unfortunate. Don TC's trying to call me out like I said the saying wrong, but I know it's a saying. They're like the fish stinks from the head, and it's like a saying that, like, you know, it's like that trickle down. It's like, you know, the fish doesn't start to stink from the tail or from wherever their booty hole is. I don't really know. It starts to stink when it's rotting, right? When it's rotten, it starts to stink from the head, right? It doesn't stink from the bottom, it stinks from the top, and that's kind of like everything basically, right? Like normally when you get like a bunch of corrupt cops doing something like the goon squad and stuff from last week, normally it's actually the people in charge of that whole entire division are just as corrupt, right? Like, because the fish stinks from the head.
Yeah. Shout out to Booker T. Washington in the chat. I always get to see Booker T. Washington.
I feel honored.
Here we have Booker T. Washington in the chat.
And a little gullible, but honored. Yeah.
Shout out, he said Candace Owens loves attention, so I'm presenting they behind. Yeah. TC worried about Rube, so shout out to all that. But we do got crazy cases. Chicago is not the only place that's corrupt. America in general, as we found out, it's kind of corrupt, and a lot of us are kind of corrupt too. Not necessarily me or anybody else. Not nobody in the chat, because we lovely people. But some people can go anywhere they want in other countries and think the laws don't apply to them. So let's go watch.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what? You know what I mean. Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
What's up, officers? Your boy Alpha's up, man. Looking cute, looking clean, looking sexy. And of course, we have to talk about today's topic. What is today's topic? Accountability. Because America, we don't have one. America's the greatest country in the world. I love living in America. The freedoms we get is amazing. But at the same time, we sometimes to spoil a child, right? We think the world revolves around us because we always had it a little bit easier than a lot of people. The reason we can look away when crimes happen and certain things happen, we can just look away. But you can't look away in this case when it happens in Canada, right? The U.S. lawyer caught gunning down climate protesters in Panama allegedly delivered chilling warning. Let's go watch this video. I want to watch this video. We're going to watch it together as a family. And we're going to see what I'm talking about when I'm talking about privilege. When I'm talking about privilege. It's some graphic content, of course. Of course, he does what he does. Oh, American way. It's the American way. He pulls it out. He pulls out a flamethrower, YouTube. He pulls out like a toy. He pulls it out. Of course, he's telling people to move. Look at my fireworks show I got in my hand. I'm going to show you it, and y'all going to move out my way because I'm American. I am from the US of A, and of course, there's people on the ground from apparently the fireworks going off. And he's been arrested for putting out said fireworks. Not really fireworks. It really happened. What happened? Because his old man is absolutely insane. So let's go actually talk a little bit about this. The elderly American lawyer accused of gunning down 2 climate protests in Panama was previously arrested for illegally possessing the AK-47 M16, as chilling new details emerged about this week's deadly caught-on-camera confrontation. Kenneth Darlington, 77, was seen Tuesday casually approaching a group of demonstrators blocking the Pan American Highway in Chames sector in protest of a proposed mining contract for a Canadian company. He was filmed waving his gun and began shaking his finger while arguing with demonstrators before ultimately firing, according to the footage police. According to the court testimony Wednesday, the confrontation started when Darlington saw protesters yet again blocking the highway, with him allegedly turning to one of the people he was traveling with to say, "This ends today," meaning he knew what he's going to do. I am an American. I am finna to take my Second Amendment right and apply it wrongly. I'm about to take the law into my own hands, and not even take the law into my own hands. I'm not even a vigilante. I'm just a person who is uncomfortable right now because I have to take an hour, which most of you don't know because this is not that report, but it's another report, where I have to take an hour around the protester in traffic to get where I want to get to. I am in that situation where I am so upset that I have to now go and handle it myself because, of course, my entitlement. After getting out of the vehicle, he asked to speak to a leader of the demonstration. He said, I don't want to talk to women. I want to talk to men, according to the court report by a local outlet TVN. I want to talk to men. Look, he's getting arrested. This is clearly when it happened. He is so nonchalant. Look at his face when he does it. A few men at the scene then approached him and tried to calm him down when the argument began, captured on camera. One of the demonstrators could be heard in the footage saying, "Why don't you shoot?" While others shouted, "Are you going to someone?" The second one, "Are you going to someone?" is kind of scary. Like, hey man, chill. Are you going to chill? It's not that important. It's not that big of a deal, dog. We trying to do some activism work for something that's immoral to us, something important to us. You're American. You ought to understand this. The right to peacefully assemble is important in American society. It's one of the most foundation points of the amendment. This Boston Tea Party, to legally get together and protest, is one of the most biggest American things we ever had. So you should understand this, chill. But the first one, "Why don't you shoot?" is clearly antagonizing a crazy entitled American man. Make America great type American man who thinks the rules don't apply to him. That's the kind of man we're talking about right here. One of the demonstrators could be, after we heard that, "Do you want to be first?" Darlington was heard replying before suddenly opened fire, according to the footage in court testimony. The first victim seen in the video was carrying a flag, wearing a black t-shirt and blue hat, immediately fell to the ground, which is close to this picture. As another man in red backed away, Darlington could be seen opening fire again, hitting another man in a black t-shirt who fell over after first holding his shoulder and grimacing in pain. Other footage shows standing around the bodies on the road. Albadel Diaz passed away at the scene, while Ivan Rodriguez was pronounced passed away later at a local hospital. When Darlington got back in his car, a passenger reported to ask him, "Are you aware of what just happened?" Meaning, we have to make sure you are conscious of what happened. "Yes, I killed one and shot another," he replied, the Panamanian court was told. "Let's go," he reported, instructed a woman he was with, thought to be his girlfriend. But she replied, "We're not leaving." Shout out to her. Shout out to this one, because she don't want to be no part of your accomplice. "Listen, we're not leaving. I am calling the police." But she did, and instead called national police agents who stopped the car and seized Darlington's gun, TVN reported. The American attorney was later seen being cuffed and led to the squad car. Now, Darlington was previously apprehended in 2005 after local authorities found weapons, including AK-47 M16, in his Panama City apartment, same place. He claimed in court that the weapon was simply part of a collection. We done heard that before with the tapes, as we saw. And he was acquitted of illegal possession of firearm, the report. So the guns he used, he's clearly not just collecting them, he's using them. The attorney with the dual American Panamanian citizenship is facing charges of murder and illegal possession of a gun. Local. This man right here has no accountability. This man right here is the most privileged, entitled man up. "You make my life uncomfortable, this will end today," is what he said. And this is a problem that we have in America because we're, like I said, we're spoiled children. We're so used to getting our way and things going our way because we feel like everything is supposed to go our way, right? We have laws that state the customer is always right in the rules in your workplace. The regular people are always right. You are the people who decide fate, even though technically Senate decides the economy, presidents declare war, but you vote for us, so you're right. You are justified in everything you do. You can use your Second Amendment right. You have the freedom of speech to say anything you want. What you do, by the way. But there are consequences for saying the things that you want to say. I want y'all to understand when I say these things, what I mean. You have the right to say what you want to say. It just happens that if your boss want to fire you for it, you can. This man doesn't feel that responsibility. A lot of people in America don't feel that responsibility. "Oh, my First Amendment rights say no. It protects you from the government arresting you for dissing the president or dissing your boss." You can diss your boss. But it's certain things you can't do in society that you know you can't do. You can't go to your boss and call him up to his face and then threaten to slap him and think you're going to keep your job. Everybody knows that's not true. So you have to adapt. You have to adapt to it. And we're adapting by you liking and subscribing and hitting that notification bell so every week you know when we're live on Thursday talking about these stories. Or you can catch the story when you can't catch it live. You can catch the individual stories in full 1080p glory, 4K sometime on the channel. So go look, like, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that stuff. Tell your friends about I'll Be That News, your favorite news station with the most interesting news. It is your boy, La Alpha May, here with the classic Ruby.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what? You know what I mean. Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Okay, so I missed something. What did that have to do with Canada? You're very muted. Also, as an aside.
He has like a dual citizenship, and then he went to Panama as a like American Canadian lawyer, and he just decided that these people was protesting a thing that they were making over there, a mining thing, and he was like, they were protesting the street, so he decided he gonna move it, and he got tired of, you got to read the other stories because that one didn't really explain it, but he apparently was moving them, and they like, hey, you can't move that, and he was like, this ends today, it's over, and he fired off on the protesters as they were, well, one was saying, what you gonna do, we protest and we have our rights, and the other one was like, don't shoot, and he just like, your turn. And then he told this girl he's gonna go. Yeah, I'm leaving, we're going, and she's like, no, and she called the police on him. And
so like it technically had nothing to do with Canada or Canadians per se, right? Because technically he's really like Americanized, even though he has a dual citizenship, and then he went to Panama.
Yeah.
So like technically we're free and clear of this. This is really like an American issue, right? No, I'm just checking.
Yes, basically. So it's a old man American issue. Make America great type issue.
Yeah, right. So yeah, he totally Americanized. Has nothing to do with us. We're still great. Perfect. Okay, just checking. Yeah, no, Canadians, y'all can still travel all over the world. Our passport is still gold everywhere. It's perfect. Thank you. I wanted to clarify. I wasn't sure. I'm like, wait, what is us? What does it have to do with us? But it doesn't. So it's no, I'm definitely not claiming him, and I don't have to, Shar. See, because apparently, yeah, he's Americanized. Good luck with y'all's problem. Get it right? That's a y'all thing. So, you know, good luck with y'all's thing. You know.
Listen, we gotta do something about them, those type of people, bro. They don't know what's going on. I don't know where they come from. That man literally just said, "You in my way, get out the way. I'm not driving an hour and a half." They didn't even mention the article, but he literally was saying he was driving an hour and a half, and this ends today. And I'm like, oh. Inconvenience leads to the passing away of people. I didn't.
Well, yeah, if you're American, not if you're Canadian. This is why I was really confused, right? But like Americans, yeah, right? So yeah, I know it's perfectly fine. Americans are terrible, but we knew this, right, from all the stories, and we also knew from all the stories that Canada is the future. Anyway, so on that note, guys, I'm sorry. We are literally, it's going to be our last story of the night. And it's a sad one. It is a really sad one. If you are sensitive to this kind of imagery, information, I'm going to warn you before it even comes on. It has to do with a baby, like newborn, under a year old, being abused in a daycare. So if you are sensitive to this kind of information, I suggest you don't watch, because like literally you can see my reaction. I'm close to like tears multiple times. So all right, let's go. Y'all, first, I want to give a shout out. Now, I'm not going to name the name because the person does not want to be named, but shout out to this person for bringing this to my attention. They know that personally here at I'll Be That News, we very much care about these stories that affect children and the well-being of children. And that's why we've done so many different stories about, say, malfeasance at daycare centers. And I hate to say it, but we have yet another case here. And this one is just horrifying. It's just horrifying to think that you could trust your child's care, your baby, your 6-month-old baby, innocent newborn baby's care to somebody, and they could do something so evil and wretched. Let's take a look at the story, y'all. You know what? If you are sensitive to this kind of thing, okay? If you are sensitive to hurting children and babies in any way, you're going to want to skip this story. This is your warning, because this is a rough one. This is a rough one.
For the first time, the mother of a 6-month-old who had her hand forcefully burned in a bottle warmer at a New Orleans daycare is speaking out exclusively with Fox 8. She tells David Jones she's demanding the woman who allegedly did this and the daycare employing her. And the mother of a 6-month-old who had her hand forcefully burned in a bottle warmer at a New Orleans daycare is speaking out exclusively with Fox 8. She tells David Jones she's demanding the woman who allegedly did this and the daycare employing her to be held accountable.
Kalicia Vining says she and her daughter are scarred by this experience, and we do want to warn our viewers some of the images in this story are disturbing.
You see this type of stuff on movies, you see this type of stuff on TV, you know, never really thinking it could hit home.
When Kalicia Vining...
Have y'all ever burned something on your hands? Like, have you ever had, like, a burn on your hand? I've had a burn on my hands multiple times. One time when I was, like, very young, I was, like, maybe 3 or 4, I put my hand on an iron. Now, to be fair, I was always told don't touch it, it's hot. But my grandmother used to touch the iron. She would bounce her hand, to be fair, right? Like, she would bounce it, but, you know, to test if the iron was hot enough to use or hot enough to put away or cool enough to put away after she was done using it, whatever. And so me and my little 3-year-old, 4-year-old self, right? She left the room, the iron was there, and I went to see. So I tried the bouncing thing, but I couldn't get a read on whether it was hot, so I left my hand on it for longer than I burned my hand. Brilliant. The second time I burned my hand, fun fact, I was doing the thing where, I don't know if you've ever seen someone do it. They're using a book of matches. They flip open the lid so they can kind of use the lid of the matches as like a sliding ground too. And then they slide the matches, and then because you're outside and it's windy, so then you put the match like this, so that way you're blocking all of the wind, okay? To light a cigarette. I was like 16 at the time. I know it's legal to smoke. I don't know. Anyway, point is that when I did that, it was the middle of a snowstorm, and it was really hard. So I was, you know, bunching everything up. And anyway, the point is, I lit the entire book of matches on fire while I was holding it. And it took a minute to process, but I also didn't let go of it until my cigarette was lit, because it took me so long to try to get to this place. And like, that was it. I was going to be standing at this bus stop in a snowstorm for I don't know how long with no other way of lighting cigarettes. And then I had to stand there, and then it took hours to get to school. That was a nightmare. That I lit my hand on fire. That was a great day. Anyway, the point is, so as a result, I can't imagine intentionally burning anybody. But to intentionally burn a newborn? Like, to intentionally burn a newborn, I can't.
Reflects on what happened at a local daycare. The hurt, pain, and anger come flooding in.
They scrubbed all the blisters off her hand, and she was screaming. And I had to hold her down because...
Through tear-stained eyes, Vining remembers the physical pain her 6-month-old girl endured at the hospital.
And I had to hold her down because she don't know what's going on, you know. She was 6 months old. She's just crying, and I don't know what to do.
Vining says these photos of her daughter's hand taken at a follow-up appointment speak for themselves.
I couldn't believe that she would do Harper that. Even after seeing it in my heart, I still can't believe she did Harper that. I can't. Like, how do you do that? How do you do that?
Harper is her baby, who was at McMillan's First Steps Daycare in Central City. On September 22nd, police say school video cameras captured employee Victoria Salter taking Harper's hand and placing it into a heated bottle warmer twice. The arrest warrant says that as Harper cries out in pain, Salter can be heard saying, "Good job." The 27-year-old was booked with second-degree cruelty to a juvenile, which is punishable by up to 40 years in state prison upon conviction.
Okay, good. Because I really hope they throw her under the jail. Twice. She did this twice. And then her response to the baby screaming in pain is, good job. Like, what kind of sick freak are you? Are you jealous? What kind of, like, I can't even in my head wrap around why you would do this to this baby. Like, I can't. Oh my God.
The daycare tells Fox 8 Salter had worked there for around 5 months.
She came to me and she said, the Harper's bottles are too big for their bottle warmer. I said, okay. She said, you have a bottle warmer at home? Yeah, take it. You know, I never imagined that would be the same bottle warmer she burned my baby's hand with. Never.
3 weeks later, Vining says she and Harper remain traumatized by the incident.
I'm struggling so bad. I'm not eating. I'm not sleeping. Harper's not sleeping. You know, she's way more fussy, way more clingy.
We're not going to give up here. We're going to fight to the end until full prosecution is done to this person that had worked at our facility.
Dr. P.W. Reed says he's director of operations and principal at McMillan's.
We do have the autonomy to make sure that we're vetting even more carefully, that we're watching more carefully every single thing that we're doing.
She's not the only one responsible. She's not the only one that dropped the ball. All of them are responsible.
Vining is critical of the daycare, its hiring practices, and its overall handling of the incident.
My experience was pure hell. Nobody can take that from me. Did I want it to be pure hell? No. It's my baby.
In an interview with Fox 8, Reed said,
you know, there's a large part of me that was just sitting there thinking, like when they were telling this story about the bottle warmer, right? I'm like, okay, so was it like, you're like, oh, your bottles don't fit into the bottle warmer? And then she's like, yeah, I pulled it out. Like, I was expecting her to say she pulled an attitude about it. She said, just figure it out. Like, you know, like she said or did something. So this was a revenge, and she was sick and twisted enough to take the revenge out on the baby. Like, that's, like, I can't even conceive of what else it could possibly be. Like, because how do you, and then you, were you jealous? What were you jealous of, ma'am? Were you jealous of her hair because she's got a looser grade of hair than yours? Were you jealous of her skin because she's lighter than you? You jealous because she has a baby and you don't? Or maybe, I don't know, maybe she has more money than you. Maybe she has a spouse or someone else helping her with her babies and you don't have that. Like, I can't figure out why, even if any of that's true, why would you do, oh my God, just why, oh, Jesus.
Salter was, quote, dealing with some sheltering issues, but had provided a permanent address during the daycare's background check.
I knew that she was dealing with some sheltering issues, and that's all we knew. There were times that she ran late, and yes, we confronted those issues, and we dealt with those issues.
Harper's waking up every 2 to 3 hours. She's not allowing you to put her down. Like, you can tell a change in her. No matter how happy she is, I know my child, she's different.
Salter is still in jail on a $50,000 bond. She has not yet been arraigned and entered a plea. She has been appointed a public defender. We've reached out for a statement and have not yet heard back.
Watch their silhouettes closely. It was nap time at McMillan's First Steps Academy around 1:10 in the afternoon, September 22nd, 2023. 27-year-old Victoria Salter had 6-month-old baby Harper in her arms.
Then she picks up Harper and she takes Harper's bottle out of the bottle warmer. She sits it down and she lifts Harper up and she puts her left hand in the bottle warmer the first time. And then she takes it out.
Salter reportedly looking around to see if anybody is watching.
And then she dumps Harper's hand in there a second time. And Harper starts to scream. And she tells Harper, good job. I hear Harper scream.
She did it twice.
Harper screams so gut-wrenching that her mother says she can't listen.
Why would you do that? And not only why would you do that, why would you say good job? What about that warrants a good job?
She says she got a message about 35 minutes later through a parent app asking if Harper had a teething toy at the facility.
That lets me know that Harper sat there in torment.
Vining says she was at work and never saw the message. She then got a phone call at 3:53, 2 hours and 43 minutes after the burn incident.
He was like, we need you to come get Harper. She burned herself. They said that She grabbed the bottle warmer and steamed it back to her.
But that proved to be inaccurate, according to this criminal arrest warrant. Based on the surveillance video from the facility, quote, Victoria Salter has control of the child who was solely in her care when she sustained her injuries. The hand of the child was seen being placed into the bottle warmer, which reaches the temperature of 194.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Due to these actions, the victim...
Right. So you literally try to blame it on the baby. Oh, she grabbed it herself. Oh, it was just steam. Like you do. I guess maybe the owner of this facility doesn't let the workers know there's cameras there, or like I don't.
Sustained second-degree burns, which may hinder the victim's range of motion in the healing process.
Harper loves to keep her fist balled, and I believe that's what saved the inside of her hand from being burned.
It's also noted in this report filed by the Louisiana Department of Education that DFCS wasn't notified until 5:51, and police weren't notified until later that night. It also says the facility failed to immediately notify the parent of the critical incident, which is against state regulations, and that staff now are required to notify administration immediately of all critical incidents to ensure timely reporting.
Oh, why was this handled so poorly?
This is what the principal and director of operations, Dr. P.W. Reed, told the Fox News affiliate in New Orleans.
We're not going to give up here. We're going to fight to the end until full prosecution is done to this person that had worked at our facility.
He says that Salter...
This is a beautiful baby. I'm sorry, but yeah, this trash heap, right? So they needed to legislate that if a baby gets badly injured in your facility, that you should immediately tell the parent. Immediately. And then they had to legislate that, oh, and when you hurt a child or a child gets hurt, you have to actually talk to the proper authorities. You have to report it to the authorities. And oh wait, when the video shows that it actually was done on purpose, you need to call the police immediately. I'm not sure why they had to put that into some kind of legislation, into the rules for you to have known that that's what you need to do. That is wild. That is wild.
Was struggling with homelessness, and they were aware of it.
I knew that she was dealing with some sheltering issues, and that's all we knew. There were times that she ran late, and yes, we confronted those issues, and we dealt with those issues.
But according to the Department of Education, they have missed the mark on other issues in the past. McMillan's was documented in September 2023 for failing to meet the required child-to-staff ratio for infants. One staffer was alone in a classroom with 8 children. The threshold is 5 children per adult. In October, another staffer was watching 9 infants alone. Vining says that after her daughter's burn incident, they offered free tuition as an apology.
I feel very insulted that I was offered free tuition for my baby's pain.
And the irony is that Harper's tuition was already free thanks to state funding. In fact, in 2019, Fox 8 New Orleans investigated McMillan's and found that the school received $1.3 million in state tax dollars as part of the Choice Scholarship Program. Every student enrolled back then had a voucher from the state, and records found that when they opened up enrollment for elementary school students in 2013, the state money that they received skyrocketed, and so did the salary of the school's executive director, Linda McMillan. In 2017, her salary increased to $204,000 a year, which was up $53,000. This also on the heels of a Department of Education report alleging that students were cheating on tests to boost scores at the direction of their teachers.
You can do the interview with me anytime next week. I was called out of a debriefing. We can have the interview anytime next week.
Monday?
Monday will be fine.
But that never happened. Linda McMillan backed out of that interview with Fox 8, instead sending a statement saying, quote, "We have students we received and enrolled in 5th and 6th grade with a skill level of a 1st and 2nd grader. Who dropped the ball and who left those students behind? In addition, these students are struggling and can't keep up with our curriculum, and therefore grades are poor, along with poor performance and little to no support from the parents."
Again, another example of the fish stinks from the head. So instead of you taking that boost in funding, McMillan's, so you could, I don't know, have the correct ratio of workers to infants or workers to children, you just thought, oh, this extra money, well, that means we all deserve to make over $200K. Again, Tiffany Henyard, y'all. I'm telling y'all, it's an epidemic. This is ridiculous. No, I'm not going to necessarily blame the McMillan's for what this evil, sick lady did. But there's a reason why there are guidelines like 5-to-1 for infants, right? Or 7-to-1 for 1-year-olds, 10-to-1 for 2-year-olds, right? There's a reason for these guidelines. They didn't just make it up all willy-nilly. And if you're not going to follow them, then normally that's when bad things happen. That's why they made up the guidelines. It's terrifying. It's so overpriced, expensive, difficult, whatever, to get your kids into daycare. And then only for things like this to happen? And then you want to give them free scholarship when they already have free access? I mean, I'm not sure why you think that. I'll bet you any money that woman would never bring her kids back to anything associated with any of those people. Are you crazy? I don't know. There's got to be some civil penalties for this daycare place as well. But y'all let me know what you think. This is... I warned y'all. That's all. I warned y'all because it's just to think that she did it, because something in my mind, when I was listening to the first story, I'm like, it can't be that intentional. It can't be. But no, she had to first she had to ask for a bottle warmer that was bigger. Right. Then she got the bottle warmer. Okay. Then she took the bottle out. And then after, like, she took the bottle out, took the baby's hand, put the baby's hand in the water the first time. It's like the baby wasn't in pain enough. So then she put the baby's hand back in there. Like, all casually. She wasn't rushing. She wasn't worried. It was like a normal thing. Like,
listen,
I have no words. And then people get paid $200K a year. All of the McMillans. There's like 10 of them at the top. They're all getting paid $200K a year to hire people like that. And then to leave people like that, not even at the correct ratio. So there's like 10-1 for under 1 years old when it's supposed to be set like 7-1 or something like that. So that's why this woman who's mentally unwell, obviously, and is evil and demonic and satanic and I don't know what else, had access to this baby to be able to do this. And when the baby screamed out in horrific pain and was probably screaming for hours thereafter, that's why hours after this happened, they're asking for a teething ring. She's probably teething. That's why she's screaming horrifically. And then still hours later before someone actually looked and went, oh my God, her hand, something bad happened. Jesus. I don't know, Zell. I don't know about daycare anymore.
Listen, I was talking to Biggie Boss, friend of the show, and he was saying he didn't trust daycare. That's why he left his job and took care of the son while his wife worked. So he's like, listen, somebody got to sacrifice because I don't trust daycare. And stories like this gives it credence to why he don't trust daycare, because you don't know who they're hiring. Not that the people at the top have bad intentions. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they just want to get a check. It's a good government check. But sometimes people don't have bad intentions. But a lot of people, even in good intention, don't do things correctly. So I don't know which one it is with the family or whatever, but in that way, you don't do things correctly. You just focus on, oh, we doing our job, everything's good, and you don't do everything by the book. The reason, as Ruby said, the reason it's 5-1 for every kid instead of 10-1. The reason why you have cameras there, which they did, fortunately, because she lied. The reason you have all these things there is for a security reason. The reason we even have to legislate it now, because people don't do due diligence when they hire people. So now you have to make sure that people aren't stealing or people aren't doing something to the kids, because now it's a little too common. So now we have to have cameras on everybody. We have to have this 5-1 rule. You got to talk to authorities. It have to be legislated into the government that, hey, listen, it's prison time if y'all don't do this, or you lose your rights as a school or all kind of things, because we have to, because people don't do their due diligence. And then you have psychopaths who can just make up a story and say, listen, she touched the bottle woman, she didn't, and we see on camera that ain't what happened.
At all. It's not at all what happened. And, you know, to think that what this school did is outrageous to me. Well, we can just give your kid free tuition. Like, to think that that was their response is just mind-blowing to me. And that goes to show you how money hungry and greedy and, like, I don't know, broken that these people and their system, their system at that daycare center really is / was. I honestly hope they get shut down. I hope they get fined out the wazoo. I think that on top of that, I think a really deep investigation needs to be done, because I'm going to guess that this is the only time she went this far, but I'm going to guess that it's not the only thing that she's done. And I'm going to guess that also there's a culture there where punishing babies, punishing children for little things, or when they're on your nerves, or when the parents piss you off or something, that's something we're going to find out that was actually happening. And unfortunately, the amount of people who have harmed children in daycare centers on purpose, or who were just so deeply negligent that babies and small children were hurt very badly, this year alone is mind-blowing. And especially mind-blowing because of how expensive it is. But now we know why it's so expensive, because it's $200K per person at the top. And then they're probably paying the people at the bottom peanuts, which is why they're scooping them out of wherever. Who cares? Who cares about their qualifications? Who cares about their ability to deal with small children? Who cares about their criminal record check? Who cares about their own stability? Who cares? Who cares about any of that? Let's just put them around your small children, your small, needy children. And then when they burn the kid, so now I want y'all to think about the fact that right now is the time where you're already starting to learn fine motor control and whatever. This baby is going to be behind, because she's going to need to go through a lot of probably surgeries, operations, stuff like that, and then physiotherapy for her to, she's going to be behind forever in fine motor control. If that's her dominant hand, she'll be behind in learning how to write. She'll be behind in so many things. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, no, it can't be like this. But we had to legislate. Well, you should call 911. No, we need to legislate way more than this at this point. At this point, it's too much now. At this point, it's too much. Like Vonda said, the baby skin was falling off its hands. Like I have no other words. I have no other words for that. Yeah, sorry to leave you guys on such a bad note. You know, sorry. Really appreciate you, Petrie. Petrie Dishes says, I'm going to reach out to my friend Tamara. She will love the show. That's awesome. I used to know someone named Tamara. Wouldn't that be cool if it's the same Tamara? Anyway.
That'd be crazy. Both of y'all from Canada. Who knows?
What would be the odds?
Who knows? Who knows? Y'all are both from Canada. But but yeah, it's a lot. Like we saw today, it's a lot that need to be done. It's a lot of work to do, and that's what we do here at I'll Be That News. We have to showcase it. We have to show y'all the news. I know it's a lot of other like side shows going on, but we're gonna show you the good. We're gonna show you the ugly. We're gonna show you the funny. But we're gonna show you what's going on in the world. So it would be it's your American.
No, the Tamara I know is from Canada.
So shout out to Canada. Shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate y'all. We do. We appreciate the views, the watches, the likes, the watch time. Y'all encouraging us, keeping us going. That's why we do this. I just want to tell y'all I thank y'all and appreciate y'all.
All right. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, be safe.